Hello everybody, we've got a bit of a rant today, because I want to talk about the Anvil Paladin and why I'm quite surprised that people are excited for it. So, they released this new concept ship. Of course they couldn't actually just release it because that would be illegal. But anyways, we have a new concept ship, the Anvil Paladin. It's supposed to be a heavy gun ship, which is very exciting, very cool. I love these kinds of ships. However, the way they do them, and this, especially the way they've done this one, is not good. And I don't understand why people are already so hyped for this thing that probably won't be released for many years, because for what reason do they need to release a ship after they've already made money off of it? I'll tell you the reason. None. They don't have one. But anyways, very recently, as in right before they dropped this, they nerfed the shit out of the Redeemer, which is not surprising at all. But what does it mean for ships like the Paladin? Well, what it means is as soon as this thing gets released, the quad size 5 turret up here is probably going to get nerfed into oblivion. Right now, they are telling us that the pilot will be able to control these 4 size 4 turrets on the wings. The only problem is that they change this constantly with other ships. For example, the one I just mentioned, and the Corsair. So that's a problem, number one, because the main thing people are excited for is the guns, because that's all this thing has. So if the size 5s get nerfed to probably size 4s, that would suck. And if these side weapons aren't pilot controlled, which also might probably happen, that would also suck and make this thing kind of useless and takes away everything that people are excited for, even though the chance of these things actually staying the way they are in this concept are paper thin. Now, the problem with this is the fact that this ship is about the size of the Redeemer, but it is wider, and it'll probably be way heavier. So it's going to be slow, it's not going to maneuver very well at all, and it has decent shielding, but that can always change, of course. They literally just nerfed that on the Redeemer as well. And so what you're left with is a slow, poorly armed for its size, dedicated fighter that can do nothing else, but probably won't be very good at the job. Meanwhile, you have the Constellation series, which is, and always will be, the better version of this in every way, and there's nothing that they can do to a dedicated gunboat or fighter of any kind to change that, because CIG does not understand how these ships need to work to be viable in the game. The next problem is the interior. Look at this ship. Okay, it's got 2 floors. It's not huge, not at all, but it has a decent amount of space here. Every single bit of this space is taken up by a useless hallway. Almost every single one. You have the cockpit up here and down here with a long staircase with nothing in it. Obviously you got the jerry tube, but you could put that anywhere. You have what looks to be 2 habs for 4 people, and they are quite decently sized. It looks like all that's in here are beds and maybe suit lockers and stuff, which is dumb because there's suit lockers down here, so it's probably just personal storage and a couple of beds on each side. So for this top deck, that's like 30% of the space for 4 beds. It's not even the habitation, because the habitation is over here. So you're taking up that much space on a dedicated gunboat for personal amenities, which is already a huge waste of space. Then you have a staircase right in the middle of the ship, and you have hallways going around the entire thing. This entire area is useless. You could just have one elevator parked right here, and it would go straight down, and then you could attach these other rooms here, make one straight hallway, and the rest of this can all just be usable space. But CIG obviously can't do that, because for all of these ships, they have to basically nerf the interior and make it essentially useless, because it's a dedicated fighter. And when they have a dedicated fighter, they want to make sure that you can't do fuck all with it other than that. So back here, it looks like you have the EVA access. It's either up here or down here. Both rooms look the exact same. But either way, again, you have this floor and this floor, which is just a big room for almost nothing. The suit lockers could go anywhere. The EVA access is fine where it is, but there's no cargo here. So what's the point of this even being a room? And especially a room that's this size. And so on the lower deck, it's even worse because for some reason, this area of the ship just doesn't even have an interior on the bottom. This goes all the way to the exterior of the ship. This little hallway, this staircase. And yet, they can't put anything past the midline of the ship for down here. And the design is symmetrical. There's no reason for this. It's just because they didn't know what the hell to do with it, even though they have no cargo storage on this entire ship. Not one singular SU. But of course, you instead have a hallway with nothing in it, once again, your dumb little staircase that takes up way too much room, especially in a ship of this size, and then it goes over to the locker area, and then this singular exit point of the ship. Why? Why is it like this? You could have your little access here from the bottom and have cargo here. I mean, the ship doesn't need a ton of cargo, but give it like 4 SEU at the very least. For the size of the ship, people need an incentive to buy it. Yes, you're going to primarily be using your guns and nothing else, but you want to be able to loot what you're killing, because otherwise what the hell is the point of this thing? If you have an entire crew of people and you are relying on other people to go and pick up the spoils, then you might as well just have a bigger ship that can do all of it in one and do it much better. There's no reason for a ship like this then. And yeah, you can do the stupid bounty missions right now, but who knows what the future's going to look like? Are we still going to be able to just get money from killing people? I don't really think so. I don't think that's going to be how it works. So you have to be able to get something from what you destroy, and this ship has no capability to do so. And so, aside from the fact that they could just have an elevator in the center that goes down to the bottom, which would add another entry point which this ship desperately needs, it would also leave room for none of these stupid hallways, because you could just go straight over it or straight through it or something, and you could have plenty of SCU in this thing. I'm sure you could fit, at the very least, 20 in this ship. But they just don't do it, because instead they'd rather have huge wasted hab sections and a shit ton of hallways that do nothing, that have nothing in them. In fact, I'm pretty sure this ship has a dedicated component area, and so all these other hallways have nothing in them. I don't even know how that's possible. Like, how do you decide that that's what you're going to do with the inside of the ship? There are so many things that you could do. I mean, the Valkyrie is a similar size, and you can fit an Ursa rover in that thing. You can fit small snub ships in that thing. And yet you have this, and it doesn't even have a singular SCU. What are you doing? Just add something. Give the ship something. Again, you are forcing the ship to not be practical for the sole reason that it is a gunship. And that doesn't make any sense. That's not going to sell the ship to anyone. Give it just a few SCU so people can pick up whatever spoils they need from whatever they kill and be done with it. Then you can basically double the amount of practicality this thing has. It can also do box missions. It can explore a little bit, pick up stuff on the way. It can raid bunkers. I mean, there are so many things that this ship immediately cannot do because it has no cargo. And I just don't understand that from any perspective. I mean, if you want to make money and sell the ship, make it usable. But instead, they'd rather have this fake immersion where companies sell pre-nerfed military vessels that are useless. And then CIG, after they release this thing, will go ahead and make its only purpose useless again, because they're going to nerf the actual weapons and everything on this thing to make the next one they make look even better. And so, at the end of it, you have all of these combat ships on all of these military ships that nobody uses. They literally nerfed the Corsair because it was getting, like, I think 40 or 60% of the entire, like, kill ratio in the entire game. And that just goes to show that these ships are not doing what they need to do. People are using exploration vessels to get kills and to fight things, because once they're done fighting them, they can use the other amenities in the ship to actually profit off of their work. But instead, these ships have to be useless for some reason. And I don't get it. I don't understand the hype. I mean, sure, it looks cool. I do like the way it looks. And for once, they actually did a decent job painting it, because usually CIG is lazy as hell with all their paints. But this one's actually pretty nice. Sure, you can be excited about this ship. I can't take that away from you, and I'm not trying to. I'm not going to, like, say, my opinion is immediately invalidates yours and all of your hype for this ship. But at the very least, I just want you to think about it, and just think maybe that this thing is kind of set up to fail, as are most combat ships in this game, as we've seen before. It's not like I'm just pulling this out of my ass. Like, we have seen this over and over again, and yet people still kind of fall for it every time, and it's really unfortunate, and it's unfair to the people that have to deal with that and kind of learn from that, but we might as well do it before we spend $300 on this thing. I know it's 240 war bond, but I mean, if you spend real money on this ship, I don't know what to tell you. So it's frustrating because they could make this ship so good so easily, and they just don't want to, because they think for some reason it's not going to be fair if the combat ship is good at combat and then is able to make even a little bit of money out of it. But oh well, that's how it is, it's how it always will be. For those of you who don't know how CIG works, this is how CIG works. And it is best to be aware of that before you walk into a world of hurt and an empty wallet. So yeah, that's enough rambling for one video. I know it's basically poorly edited or unedited, and I apologize for that, but I just wanted to get this out while it's still relevant and people are still thinking about buying this ship. So yeah, that's my take, and thank you for watching, and have a great day.